Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and today we got good old-fashioned, by the way, Happy New Year's. Let's just start it off with 2022. Let's get started with this decade going on. It's gonna be juicy, let me tell you. But I have good belief. Oh wait, no, why is Square Enix trending? Oh no, what's going on here? Another quick term that gained quick currency in 2021 was NFTs. Oh, I see 2021 not only as Metaverse Year 1, but also as NFT. Oh! Well, gaming is dead. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to something that I consider to be far more important. Now, let's get started with YouTube. Let's get started with the YouTube pick a side movement. Obviously, in the last couple days, you probably heard of this movement. I know I have. I was into it. I was a participating member. My good friend Max ran it. You probably watched the video from Charlie and everything. And I'm going to start this video off with a really hot take that for some reason would get you canceled on sites like Twitter, would get you canceled on DeviantArt, would probably get you canceled on Furcadia, maybe RuneScape, I don't know. And here's the thing, okay, get ready, hold on to your butt plugs real quick. I think pedophilia is bad, okay? Wow, what a shocking and novel concept. Whoa, oh my god, wow. No, you know what I also think is bad? I think people that are from that branch of pedophilia, I think you all are bad too. I think you all are basically borderline criminals, and if you have offended, you deserve to spend a good amount of times behind bars, okay? That's what I think, all right, bam. Now, apparently that's considered a controversial take to some people. I don't know why. If I ever live in a world where this is somehow, like, accepted, well, I'm just going to retreat into the woods and live the rest of my life out in solitude, because I can't choose to participate in a group of people that have somehow allowed such a heinous activity to actually go around unchecked. Now, of course, YouTube's pick a side movement was pretty emotional. Obviously, like, it divided a lot of people in how situations were handled. Obviously, even I disagreed with Max a little bit in regards to how he handled it, how he tagged certain creators in, and how this entire argument basically evolved into something that became incredibly emotional, okay? It's like, hey, YouTube, what do you think? Children or pedophiles? Obviously, no company would ever go with the latter half, okay? No company worth their salt. Obviously, everyone cares about the children and whatnot, but it's this line of thinking that drives up so much of the emotional charge that people tend to not look at these things with, like, a clear head, a rational head, and whatnot. So long story short, to really summarize my thoughts again on it, is that investigatory content on YouTube is kind of, again, walking through a landmine. Obviously, when you produce content on the internet, and in Max's cases, he's a very, like, sort of stylized creator. You might call it cringy. I think his videos are solid. He obviously stylizes it. He obviously has a lot of inspiration from games like Hotline Miami, which, if you've never played Hotline Miami, it's a top-down, hyper-violent game. And, you know, Max obviously doesn't have the greatest respect for people who are predators, like no one should. But in none of his videos did I ever sit down and wonder, I think Max is unhinged and he's going to actually take down these bad guys with his own bare hands. No, I never got that vibe. I always knew that it was a, stylized video. But maybe that's my brain, basically acting on a bias. Maybe, okay, I'm thinking rationally, all right? Maybe I played Manhunt back on the PS2, and not once in my entire life did I think, damn, should I reenact what James Earl Cash did? Maybe that's the real differing thing. So I watched the videos, I was entertained by them, I learned a few things, and called it a day. Now, of course, those videos get taken down because what these people tend to abuse, especially predators, are technicalities, and that's something we're going to really get into, especially on this video. But to really make a comparison point, again, I'm always going to bring up that Club Penguin video that I worked on alongside YouTuber Kavos, okay? That one was a very special video for us. It was a video where we actually targeted, without a doubt, an actual ringleader for what appeared to be a Club Penguin private server where some real nasty, incredibly predatory shenanigans were going on. When it comes to online gaming, like Second Life, like anything on Facebook, VR chat, okay, any MMO, any place where you have a cross-section of adults and minors interblending together, talking to each other, and having a conversation, whether it be full text chat or like some Dark Souls style, leave some fucking crumbs on the ground, there's always going to be bad people who use these communication methods to harm people that are minors. Unfortunately, it's some aspect of humanity that will never truly be stomped out. But it's something that happens, especially with the internet. And nowadays, considering the fact that most of us are work from home, staying at home, locked inside, these are the only avenues of socialization not just adults have, but a lot of children have too. Okay, when I was a kid, going outside to the park and flipping over dog turds was a thing. In some places you go to, they want you to stay inside, and so flipping over dog turds in Fortnite becomes the only actual comparison point. The real issue is inside a video game, it's significantly harder to, keep children or any minor safe. And that's because moderation is haphazardly done. If you watch Max's videos or any of my videos where I cover on this subject, the biggest focal point is always the moderation. It is almost non-existent, especially when it comes to, the amount of time and money that it costs. A lot of companies would rather prefer they spend less money, okay? A lot of them just leave moderation up to the parents, and the parents do not give a flying fuck what their kids do on the internet. At least that's what it seems. So when it comes time to YouTube and the videos that it removes, obviously Max getting his video striked, or really anybody who's making, content. I've actually talked to certain channels, like People vs. Pred actually sent me a message where he actually talked that as soon as I made the video, one of the other channels got struck for some reason. And I wasn't surprised, because in his video on his YouTube page, he would literally show faces on the thumbnails. And this is the problem, okay? These predators, these absolute sick people, utilize technicalities to get by on the system. Obviously, YouTube is not pro-pedophilia. If they were, EDP445 would never have been removed from the actual platform. Remember, EDP445 was caught on a sting by a vigilante group. They themselves also got nuked off of YouTube for obviously, violating TOS and whatnot as well. But that wasn't to say that EDP didn't get removed. EDP tried coming back and making multiple actual channels on the platform. YouTube hired John Wick to find each and every single one of those channels and snuff the life out of them, which they did. Now, it's not to say YouTube doesn't actually have real life, actual bad people still on it. Obviously, it's a large website. It's going to have some problematic individuals, some people that may have self-admitted to harming animals, minors, and somehow are still on the platform simply because they're sitting over here in the veil of obscurity. That's the only reason they get through. But once you become someone as notorious as EDP, then of course YouTube is going to jump in and keep removing you. Nobody wants another apocalypse. Nobody wants another mainstream article of a potential sick criminal, alleged criminal, even on the platform. YouTube would rather trim the fat than deal with the issues after they come. That's the reality. But when it comes to these creators, when it comes to these alleged criminals abusing technicalities, this is what I mean, okay? When you produce content in such a manner and you violate or even try to rim the TOS a little bit, you're potentially facing an issue. Every time I cover subjects like this, it takes a lot out of me to not bring the full savagery, make fun of some intrinsic attribute, because really you're talking about a bad group of people. But the moment you do that, okay, the moment you make the most harmless little joke, again, talking about an intrinsic attribute, right? Something that they can change bodily wise is what we're talking about. So something on their face, like the way their face is, maybe some pudginess, all that, okay? Some intrinsic attribute that they can't control. Okay, if God played with the character creators on their face a lot, you can't mention it on a YouTube video. Because if you do, you rim the TOS a little bit, especially when it comes to harassment and cyberbullying. Now, the reality of it is that even if you make those jokes, a lot of creators make jokes like that, and nothing has happened to their channels. But that's not to say they're not sitting on a landmine that could blow off at any moment. And what I mean by that is, let's say you make a joke like that. The video's up for a couple days. It's up for weeks. It's up for months. It's up for a year. It's up for years. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get an email in your drive, and it says, YouTube content policy violation has occurred. And then you get a strike on your channel. One warning, 3 strikes consecutively that are active, and you're gone. Okay, your YouTube channel is removed, and you can't even come back. You are banned off the site forever. It's a truly wild system. Now, of course, Max has actually been having a discussion with YouTube a little bit. In fact, the best part to come out of it is this little tweet. I had a phone call with YouTube yesterday. We had an unexpectedly successful conversation about pushing the future of the platform in the right direction. I will be meeting up with a representative in person soon to discuss details, and will not stop hounding them until great changes have been made to benefit us creators. I want to extend my sincerest gratitude to all of you for spreading the message, both positive and negative, as well as take the time to gush about all of my colleagues who accepted the invitation to appear in my videos. You're all the most amazing and beautiful friends a man could ever ask for. I thank you so much for everything. Looks like YouTube takes our side, and I can't wait to see what 2020 brings us. So, again, Max, Nexpo, Nick Crowley, a lot of these are close friends of mine. They make content. We all make content in this, field. And the reality is we do have to play with the TOS as much as we can. Because again, there are a lot of strikes that are headed to our channels if we choose to take things a slight midge too far, okay? Or maybe we overlooked one tiny detail of the video. Now, the best part about this is YouTube, and I've hounded them as well. I know Charlie has made calls with Susan. I've talked to people at YouTube, and the reality with YouTube is, the thing that freaks me out about this is, like, every time I've ever had a discussion with YouTube, it's been the most positive sounding discussion. Whatever comes out of it is fucking questionable, because every time I've talked to YouTube, I haven't seen the results that I want to be seen. I remember when I got my video taken down for scams and deceptive practices, the Cash App one, immediately after I made a big stink on Twitter, when the video was restored, I was in touch with actual partner support. And, you know, we brought about some really good points to them. We were like, hey, if you're going to implement a striking system, the striking system needs to accurately detail what actually happened in the video that caused the strike. And thankfully, YouTube now kind of gives you a time code regarding what aspect of the video was, I guess, inflammatory. But it's small strides like these that hopefully make the platform better for everyone. And I'm glad that Max is taking the side to at least push YouTube in a better direction. YouTube is obviously not pro-pedophilia, it never was. And unfortunately, sometimes stinks like this are the only things that cause YouTube to actually, I guess, listen to creators in some meaningful capacity. Now, how much of this is going to be tangible going forward? I hope a lot. I hope this makes investigatory content a lot easier. I actually hope it makes content like this not only easier, but actually more friendly to monetize for people who are making adult-focused content as well, too. And not only monetize, but content that isn't getting taken down with age restrictions in the search algorithm anyways. If you ever notice, YouTube will literally not even allow you to use the word fuck in the first 30 seconds of the video. In fact, I don't even know if there is a budget for that specific word. Use it too many times, I don't know how many, you end up getting your video age restricted. And unfortunately, this is what I'm starting to see with some of my older investigatory content. It's like age restriction, age restriction, age restriction. And it makes sense, but I wish there was more consistency on the platform. This is a good sign coming through. And honestly, pick a side is over. This is something that's far off in the past now, and we're only looking into the future ahead of us. So hopefully, 2022 is a solid year for YouTube. It's a good way to start off. This is a good sign. One of the actual things I wanted to touch upon before I end this video was when this whole thing was going on, I saw a lot of comparisons to a situation known as the Matt What It Is scenario, and I honestly couldn't find the actual comparison point, because while yes, in that regard, there was also a comparison to YouTube supporting terrible behavior, it feels like when I watched that video, it was more geared towards advertisers, the big brands that funnel money into YouTube to remove their cash out, instead of targeting YouTube for bad moderation. I think that's a bad way to tackle anything, by going directly to the advertisers, when in reality you should be tackling the crappy moderation or one-sided moderation and taking that. So I didn't really get the actual comparison point on that, but I wanted to mention into this video, I did know about this, I did hear about this, and I wanted to really give my opinion on the actual difference between both of these scenarios, to pick a side and whatever Matt What It Is wanted to push. Let's keep the energy moving forward. This is me, Mudahar, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I know I was on a bunch of tangents, but frankly, this is a topic where we have a million things to say, and not enough time in the day to do so. I am out.